Go with Netflix if you want to watch mediocre. No, wait. It's come with me if you want to live. I think that's what they mean, but it's really go with Netflix if you want to watch mediocrity. This is I'm John Starkmack, MovieGuy.com. Weird way to open the thing, but I'm obviously not a huge fan of Terminator Zero, which is now on Netflix with audio description from Vito De Felipe and the team at Diffuse. Mm, I, uh, we, I feel like I'm just like a broken record. Every time it's like it's Diffuse and Vito, I'm just like, fuck me. I have to keep doing this. I kind of feel bad because it's not like I don't want to. I literally I saw two things with him in the same day. Today I'm wearing a purple hat, uh, baseball uh, baseball cap, black sunglasses, and I'm wearing a Punisher t-shirt. So I don't have any Terminator stuff. I've seen all the films. I'm a fan, and to the point where actually I don't even hate the bad movies. Like I think everything was sort of like pretty much entertaining in this franchise. This was the most boring thing I've seen in the Terminator franchise. This is like it's very derivative. I feel like I've seen everything in this film done before in other science fiction movies before, and Vito is like Ambien on this. There's nothing interesting about his narration. He's very flat, very dry. It doesn't help the series, which was it iRobot, where they had the AI that was in the room, and they were trying to get to it, and it was controlling the other androids. I think this is basically iRobot. That's what I'm saying. I'm pretty certain this is iRobot. They just made they just hoped, which is really funny because I noticed just and the reason why is because I was sitting here, I was thinking, I was like, what the fuck was this movie? I was like, no, it's not Minority Report. What movie is it? So I finished Terminator Zero, and I guess it landed on Netflix because I finished this dropped like right at the end of August, so moving right into September. Maybe we got it. Maybe Netflix got it. So right up at the top where it suggests like a hot new title to you when you load Netflix, it was like iRobot. I was like, that's the movie. It's like they just remade iRobot. That's what That's what the movie that they made. In many ways, this is just iRobot over 8 episodes. So, um, yes, you have an AI that has been created supposedly to save the world. There are already existing robots that are helping people. Just sort of, they're very kind of dry. They're not doing anything. They hold umbrellas for people and do, I don't know, really just sort of mundane tasks that I'm like, why? Uh, and it focuses on like this main scientist who created this AI and his family. He's got a couple kids, got 3 kids. His wife has passed, so he has like a nanny for them. I'm gonna go with a nanny. I think that's what she's called. He won't allow any robots in their actual house. So the whole thing starts off with this mistake where she goes and buys this robot cat, and he's like, "Oh no, we got to get this out of the house. No, we can't have one." But they also can't have a real cat. The kids kind of hate their dad because he's like too restrictive of them. He's like, they're never allowed to do anything fun. He's got one son that's like deeply invested in like robotics himself and like wants to build stuff. And he's always taking apart like household appliances, trying to build things to be like his dad. But his dad's always like, no. So it's very like one of those things where like dad is like, I'm doing my thing, but you can't do it because it's bad. And secretly I know that, but I'm gonna act like it's good, and that I'm doing this for the good of humanity. Whatever. Anyway, and then we also flash forward to the future where it's obviously Terminators have taken over. Everybody got excited for this because the Terminator is played by Timothy Olyphant. It's voiced by Timothy Olyphant. And they were like, wow, that's a draw. It's not nearly as interesting as you would think because he's a Terminator, so he doesn't speak that much. When he does speak, it does sound like Timothy Olyphant, but he Terminators are not known for having substantial amounts of dialogue in the films. So I don't know why anybody got excited about that. That they were like, you know, could have been anybody. You know what I'm saying? Like it could have been the amount of dialogue could have been recorded by pretty much any actor. It's not really that hard. Um, and I don't know, the kids, basically they don't want this robot cat taken away, so they escape, and then the nanny has to go find them. At the same time, the Terminator goes into the past to uh, kind of keep the current events in motion, and then also um, there's somebody who's sent back, like always, like a human, you're always get sent back in these things, who also is sent back with a purpose. So you have a Terminator and a human that are both from the future, like every fucking Terminator movie ever. And this movie has nothing interesting to say or do except to copy iRobot. Like that was how it did the thing. It doesn't really mention Skynet. This is like a completely different thing. So that's why they're like, well, we're doing something different. It's like, well, you're doing iRobot. So like I feel like I've seen this movie before. Um it's like he talks to the AI voice, and I mean it reminded me of even like Three Body Problem when they're talking to the aliens, and he's like, and they're like this advanced species like somewhere out there, and Jonathan Bryce is communicating with them, and I'm like, but we don't know that they're actually here to help us. And that's kind of the conversation she's having with this AI. He's like, if I let you take over, how do I know that you're actually going to protect humanity? And I'm like, well, obviously they're not. You know what I'm saying? Like, plot twist. Watch a sci-fi film, man. Like any of them. I don't know. Like, it's like Netflix got the rights to make something Terminatory, and they made this. And this is so uninspired. It's so dull. So dull. I know some people are going to be like, it can't be worse than Terminator Genesis. I think Terminator Genesis is more fun than this. This was just dreary. It wasn't even fun. It just lacked luster. At least Genesis has some, it moves at a pace at which, uh, if you think about it, this is 8 half-hour episodes. So I had to spend 4 hours with this, roughly 4 hours. Terminator Genesis is like under 2 hours. So if you're asking me, which would I rather watch again? Terminator Genesis. Are you kidding? I'd rather get in and out. Like, I'd rather have something that's like, that wasn't great, but it had some moments that didn't, just than this. This is just, it's long, pointless. It rarely has a cool idea. Rarely it's like, wow, that's the giving purpose to the series. There's one twist that I'm sure some people were like, well, I didn't see that coming. And it's like, that's not a reason to make, that was not, if that was their reason for making Terminator Zero, we did not do enough with that. And if they're going to make another season of Terminator Zero, they're going to need to go hard. I need some people to come into this series and like give them some Red Bulls and go, like, because this series needs life brought into it. And also we need a new narrator, please. My God, I keep bringing this up. It's casting, it's matching a voice to the tone of the series. There's nothing about, although I would say the series itself is not very exciting, but Vito does not help at all. Vito is very just flat as a narrator. And I feel like I'm constantly bashing this dude. It's not that I don't like his voice. He gets hired for all the wrong projects by companies that do not produce quality audio description, do not have good writers. They don't, I did give Diffuse props on the Decameron, because they do what Apple seems incapable of doing, which is to describe both their like images during the opening credits and also give us actors. Like Apple Plus refuses to do that for any of their shows. And Diffuse proved that it's possible for the Decameron, where they narrated what was going on with the rats while also giving us actor names. I thought that was really cool. Like that's the best thing Diffuse has ever done. The rest of the series narration for Decameron, not great. They rarely ever mention anything that's related to the time period. But so I'm constantly at odds with Diffuse, but when they do something great, I will let you know. And that, fucking great, because all the studios that provide audio distribution for Apple Plus, it's like, it's this like great territory that they can't get past. Like Apple will not let them put actors in the opening title sequences for their shows. And it's so weird. It is so weird. So, and it's totally possible. It's possible to do both. And oddly enough, to Fuse prove that you can do it. Like, if they can do it, anyone can do it. Like, because they're struggling here. This audio description is unimaginative, dull, flat, and so is the series. I didn't like Terminator Zero. You won't like Terminator Zero. Some people probably will, but I have a feeling a lot of people are going to go into this, and it's one of those things where it's like, if you like Terminator, it's like everything that you see is like a mirage, right? And then you're like, wow, I'm thirsty enough, I'll drink the sand. And some people just drink the sand, and like, I'm drinking sand. But like I said, I'd rather watch Terminator Genesis, which is, I think, generally regarded as being the worst of the films. I don't know, probably, I'm sure there's somebody who's like, well, I don't like Salvation more than, or I don't like Dark Fate, or I don't know, one of the last three. Definitely one of the last three, not one of the first three. But I think it's probably Genesis. And yeah, I would rather watch that because it's, at least it's in and out. It's quick. This is 8 episodes. This is way longer. It's like watching Genesis twice. It's like watching Genesis and then also having to watch Dark Fate, or whatever that the last one was. So like, or Salvation and Genesis back to back, and being like, I don't necessarily need that in my life, that experience. But just perspective. So I'm gonna give Terminator Zero a C minus. I was not a fan of the series, so I'm hoping it doesn't get a renewal. That's on me. That's my thing. Anyway, thanks for watching. Thanks for subscribing, and I'll see you guys on the other side.